Thanks, Mon. For all of the folks who've been attending TIDE since morning, afternoon, evening, for a few of the folks from Southeast Asia, welcome again. And I'm hoping that the sessions that we've lined up for you since this morning have been useful. Like Mohan mentioned, we have a host of startup founders, entrepreneurs across the region today. So we have two founders from Malaysia, one from Indonesia, one from Philippines. So we have a very good, diverse set of both experiences and learnings that we would want to uncover during this session. Before we get started, I'm going to ask our panelists to do a quick round of introductions about themselves and the companies that they represent, so that the audience understands the companies and the business they're into. Linda, if I could request you to get started, please.
Hi, everyone. Linda here. I'm the CTO for Droppy.com. Droppy.com is a B2B SaaS-enabled marketplace. Our aim to revolutionize the way business trade and transform the traditional supply chain industry via digitalization. So which means we are looking for traditional businesses that want to digitalize their business and selling B2B. We are trying to solve a pain point of, helping this traditional business to be more efficient and agile and able to run their business effectively, efficiently, and doing it online. I also have this experience of providing service, CTO as a service, which relies really on Digitalocean. Yeah, that's about me and my company.
Thanks, Linda. Welcome to DOTide. Dennis, if we could have you go next, please.
Yeah, thanks, PJ. First, hopefully everybody's having a great and safe, extended quarantine. But just to tell you a little bit about myself, so I'm the CEO and founder of Prosperna. Our mission is to help over 100,000 SMEs here in the Philippines by fueling their customer acquisition and their customer retention. Today, we're helping these SMEs with a single platform for their online store, CRM, and a chatbot solution from one solution. Anyway, just want to give a quick shout out to the startup and tech scene and community here in the Philippines and the rest of Southeast Asia. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Dennis. Welcome. Bakhtiar, could I have you go next, please?
Okay.
You should be good now. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm very happy to be here, especially I'm the one from Indonesia. My name is Bakhtiar. Basically, I'm from Volantis Technology, Volantis.io. Basically, Volantis is a enterprise digital transformation enable for enterprise. So we help enterprise to turn raw data into more insight using various data pipeline technology. And then we've been doing that for mostly for hybrid cloud, basically from on-premise and on cloud kind of thing. So we have a lot of problem in a very large enterprise here in Indonesia, especially because not all of those enterprises equipped with the knowledge. I think that's from me. We'll talk about that later. Yeah.
Welcome back there. Eugene, could you go next, please?
Hi, thanks, PJ. First of all, I'm really honored to be invited and humbled to be in everybody's virtual presence today. So thank you very much. My name is Gene, or Eugene. I'm from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I'm a software architect with experience in the semantic web, linked data, and graph databases in general. So I founded Stronium, my company, and we are focused on developing software applications in knowledge organization systems. So at a very high level, we develop software to help with management of taxonomies and ontologies, concepts and terms which can be used for tagging in various applications. Concepts and terms and taxonomies can have relationships. So one concept can have a relationship with another concept, and the rules that are applied in the taxonomy can be the basis for machine learning applications, for example. So that's just a high level.
Welcome, Eugene. Just based on the introductions, we have very different domains that are being represented by our startup founders today, all the way from a marketplace to a CRM, to a vocabulary management, graph databases, and MI and big data focused applications, right? One of the other underlying things that all of you have is technologies at the backbone of what you do, your businesses, right? And given the focus of this session, one of the things that we want to uncover for our audience is as you go into making some of these technology decisions, it's starting with as simple as what should my tech stack be? What should be the framework that I should use to evaluate every time I'm trying to make a decision on technology, whether it's create myself, buy, partner. Those are the typical kind of decisions that most founders have to do. So I want to kind of hear again from all of you in terms of your experiences and the frameworks that you all use at your respective businesses to kind of make technology decisions. Eugene, if I could get started with you, please. You should, okay.
Sorry, for some reason I couldn't unmute myself just now. So
yeah,
good now. Yeah, yeah. Thanks. So one of the key to our, I guess the choice of framework and the adoption is simplicity. I know, I was asking myself before as I was preparing for this panel discussion, what are some of the key reasons why we decided to go with DigitalOcean? And one of the things, in fact, a couple of points that I arrived at conclusions are the same as your core values, as I was listening into Yancy describe them during the top of this this conference. I was heartened to learn that the simplicity and community being the two things that were key factors in us choosing to go with DigitalOcean. So for us, the simplicity, keeping the component part simple in our choice of framework is critical. Even though the overall architecture may end up to be complex, I think yeah. So we try to keep things simple in a framework.
Great, thanks, Eugene. Linda.
Okay. For us at Droppy, how we do and practice the prioritization of making decision in tech is we really focus on customer-centric driven. We have open innovation culture in our organization with the basis of our product roadmap that agreed at the strategic level. And because the pain that we try to elevate is really, first, supply chain is very old industries. They have a lot of traditional process, a lot of manual process. So introducing new technologies to elevate the pain also need to be managed. Hence, in terms of technical decision at Droppy, is really looking into all that. At what point and at what phase a certain new technologies can be pushed into clients or even across of our site, and when and who will get what. I guess in terms of priority is quite complex, but we have our framework that helping us to have a good decision so far.
Sure. Just a quick follow-up question on that, because you mentioned, one of the things you consciously try to do is keep away a lot of the noise that happens, right? So in terms of every new technology that's there in the market every few weeks or months, how do you kind of consciously make a choice when to evaluate, when to put some time into evaluating whether this is relevant for a customer? So what kind of, maybe like high level criteria you use when you evaluate a new tech stack or new technology?
I guess for us is really like listen to the customer voice, because in B2B, the key is relationship. So we have our teams actually having a very close relationship with our clients, and we are listening on their thought and their opinion in multiple ways. It can be a remote monitoring. It can also be really interviews or informal talking, conversation, or even in meetings and formal structure. So what we did is we have a process where we will gather all this, analyze all this, and compare it against our roadmap. then we'll get the ultimate prioritization of tasks that need to be done, especially for the engineering effort. Yeah.
Sure, that helps. Thanks, Linda. Dennis, what about the framework that you use at Prosperma?
Yeah, so in terms of the framework and how we make decisions, I'm sure there's a lot of founders and tech companies out there that would probably agree that it's a very complicated balance or formula, and to get started and to get your product in production into market. So we've always taken this formula of looking at the mix of our people, process, and the technology stack, and taking a look at all of those three in combination to try to figure out where our strengths and where our weaknesses are. And then of course, match those to the demands of our customers in the market. So, today we have a platform that is built on PHP and React. And, we were on a probably more complicated, provider than DigitalOcean prior. And whether it was looking at your hosting and infrastructure or looking at, the framework, again, we always went back to that formula of people, process, and technology and said, what do we need to do to solve this problem that'll get our business to that next phase and stage? And, DigitalOcean really came in and saved us, to be honest with you, because we didn't need to really focus on other areas. And when we looked at the team, and I let the team decide on what they wanted to do with the infrastructure, you guys came out on top. So hopefully that helps.
Sure, thanks for that, Dennis. Bhaktiyar, what about y'all?
Thank you. So basically, what we are solving here in Volantis is very complex problem. So our client dealing with some gigabyte of data every day to a terabyte of data every day. So in terms of engineering choice, we really consider in terms of the scalability and efficiency of the system, because otherwise we will be unable to scale on that such customers that we have. So the first thing that we consider to choose the framework is basically in terms of scalability. So we're looking into what possible in terms of the pool of client that we have, and then we choose the technology. And then after that, we will create a layer, abstraction layer on top of that framework. For example, we create kind of ETL layers using C code, C++ and C. And then on top of that, basically we use Python to access that. So in that sense, even the new developer can access the high performance platform, and both of them is actually a very good language and able to scale very quickly in any cloud. And then for the infrastructures, we are also dealing with various of clients that have zero knowledge of cloud to very expert. So there is a very difficult situation here. So what we do is basically we search for the cloud providers that really have some kind of flexibility, but also easy to use, as well as affordable in terms of the cost. So we don't want to be pay hundred or thousand of dollars upfront, and so we basically want to be a scale as you go. That's the framework that we use to develop our platform. And the main thing is, I agree with Linda, is basically listen to your customers, because they have their own pain point that need to be solved. So yeah, I think that's for me. Yeah.
Sure, thanks. One of the other common questions that I typically get is when you're adopting a technology that's in its early part of its curve, like a formation of development and adoption in the community, the developer community, when you adopt one such technology or stack, training team members on that typically becomes a challenge, right? So just want to kind of hear from this group on some of the common challenges that you all face today as it relates to your technology decisions. I'm opening it up on the floor. Any of you that wants to talk about technical challenges that either you've had in the past or maybe you have currently? Anybody?
Yeah, PJ, if you don't mind, I'll throw this one out there first, because this one was really an eye-opener for us. So I had actually moved from San Francisco to the Philippines, and as we were developing our product here at Prosperna, everybody talks about the poor internet in many countries in Southeast Asia, right? But it really hit me, very, very quickly. And it was really important for us to overcome some of the challenges that are not in our control, really, which is the internet. So we had to figure out very quickly and very easily how we can ensure that our system's performance could do whatever it could based on the technology decisions that we'd make, so that it could perform at its best based on what we could do, right? Irregardless of what, internet connection our customers might have. So that was a big challenge for us. And luckily we found the Hatch program, and y'all's team, gave us, the coaching that we needed to test ourselves and validate for ourselves, were we doing everything properly to ensure that we had the best system performance. So it's always good to, I think, get outside, feedback from your community, from your peers, and, even your vendor partners, right? Because that's part of what you pay for besides just signing up for the subscription, right?
Sure. Yeah, I certainly agree. For those of you who don't know what the Hatch program is that Dennis referred to, that's a global program that DigitalOcean has for startups across the globe, where we support them on a bunch of things outside of cloud support in terms of infrastructure. We also support them with a lot of technical mentorship and kind of guide them through, not just the DO architecture, but if you want another pair of eyes to review architecture, those are some of the things that we kind of enable through the Hatch program. So just wanted to kind of put it out there. Eugene,
that's exactly what you guys did for us. So that was a great resource.
Yeah, glad to know. Eugene, on graph databases, right? Again, what are some of the challenges that you've had, both in terms of internal adoption as well as kind of taking this product to market?
So yeah, maybe from my side. So Gene, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. I get.
That's fine, Bhaktiyar, not a problem. I was going to say before we chose to use graph database, one of the problems that we faced was actually in traditional relational databases. And this was many years ago, even pre-adoption of DigitalOcean for us. We were asked to develop an application that has, it's a reputation engine, basically. And we found that using traditional SQL or relational database methods didn't allow us to scale well at all. We were writing SQL queries that were nested, and the more relationships that were there, it was just growing exponentially slower. So we found we couldn't scale, and that was why when I first learned about graph databases, I thought it was such a breath of fresh air, because it allowed us to develop an architecture that's completely different from what we had in the traditional model. So we went on to adopt the graph database world, and it sort of opened a lot of doors for us. Now, having said that, the graph database itself, and there are a number of types of graph databases, come with its own challenges. They are typically not as mature as traditional SQL databases, and their implementations vary as well. So when your entire application is writing on top of graph databases, I think there's a lot more to consider about the actual instance of the graph database that you're running. So when I say that, I mean that because development is still ongoing for many of these graph databases, you tend to see variances in terms of how we query the graph database change from one version to another. So there are a lot of technical challenges there, but I think in general it gave us the ability to solve a problem that we couldn't otherwise have solved with the traditional method.
Sure, thanks, Eugene. Bhaktiyar, you had a few inputs to share as well.
Okay. So yeah, basically the challenges that we have here in Indonesia is mostly for talent, So we have quite a few talent back there. We started a company Volantis in 2015, and I think we don't have enough machine learning engineer data at that time. So what we did, instead we coming to university, and then we just have people that are very good in math, physics, or that kind of things, and then we just train them using Python programming for 2 months, and now all of those people actually become our senior engineers right now. So I think it's also good for all the startup founders to do that. The other things that we're facing is actually go-to-market strategy. So we have very complex product that basically very flexible in terms of the use cases. Some of the use cases is for risk scoring. So you have all those customers' data, and then crunch the data, and then create the machine learning model on top of that, and then create a scoring model. And the others is a kind of distribution system. Like, for example, for logistics system, you want to be measure the hop between city, the most efficient one. So it's very complex. And the way we explain to our end customers is very challenging at the beginning, especially for the early days of our company. But now, especially during COVID, is kind of everyone moving into cloud, everyone moving into a digital transformation space, and more people actually aware that digitalization and big data is not kind of luxury anymore, but is more like a necessity for everyone. So it's kind of is a bad side of COVID, but also it's a good side for us to really embrace the transformation that we have, and we will have the new normal between this year and the next coming years. And yeah, I think it's not only for me, for Dennis, Haslinda, and Jean also. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Bhaktiyar. One of the other interesting things that most startups struggle with is hiring, and especially hiring tech talent. Linda, I want to kind of hear your opinion. I know on your team, you have a lot of folks, top 30, under 30 team members as well. So just want to kind of understand what's your formula to kind of hire great talent?
Well, to be honest, there's no secret formula. It's more trial and error. But as we comes into our third year in business, so we have sort of some framework on identifying good talent for us. So we have multiple rounds of assessment for any post that comes into Droppy, even internship. And for tech per se, we are looking for people that is hungry and smart, because that you cannot teach. That is come with a person. We also look at whether it fits into Droppy culture. So we have a few core values that we always like shared among Droppy's team. Some of it is like we find people that are driven that have can initiate things on themselves, and they're resourceful to find solution, optimistic, and then they're passionate about whatever they are doing. Their empathy on people should be good, and then they really think on how to elevate things, not pushing things down, not put it to the side. It's more like how to elevate everything, how to make it everything easier, bigger, richer, faster. Pack all these like sort of groups of question, tests, assessments, online tests, live coding tests on these multiple rounds of assessment. Because we learn this in a very hard way. We used to it's very, very hard to find good talent in Southeast Asia. So what we did initially, we just okay, 2 rounds interviews, some mini tests, and then okay, we hire you, right? And then after 3 months, 2 months, you fire them and you get somebody else. And we also take a lot of interns. After 2 months, they goes and come and goes, come and goes. So we built this framework as we go on. It still needs some tweak, but I think it's already shows some potential talent to be identified to be part of Dropsters. So that's so far what we have so far. We might be changed today or tomorrow.
Yeah, so the list of values that I think you called out are very universal, right? I think some of those I think most companies tend to follow in terms of just identifying the right culture fit into our company. So thanks for that. One of the other questions that I typically struggle with personally is technical debt, right? As a startup founder, one of the things that you want to do is get to market faster, break things quickly. And in that context, you're trying to build your MVP, and then at very, sooner than later, you've found product market fit, and you're now looking at scaling. And often find to grapple with, we need to go and address technical debt. Anybody in this group who's had to deal with it, and what's been some of your, methodology that you've followed to kind of overcome that technical debt? Anybody can take that question who's been through that.
Maybe I can share something. Technical debt is something that very normal for us, at least for the first initial years of in business. Reason being is our solution is SaaS platform, but it's B2B and it's supply chain. A lot of people more like, if I pay like 100,000 ringgit or 250 USD or whatever amount, I want a custom process. I want my process. So we end up having a lot of customization work, like really a lot, and we'll try to manage from there. And what happened is we also have our open marketplace. So there's a lot of like put aside technical requirements, even for the client, that, okay, we built that first, and then after that, we come back. After pilot, we come back. After MVP, we come back. But we'll never come back. So what we try to solve this by every time we agree to do something, it is a clear listed project. If it needs to be pushed to second version or third version, it will be stated clearly it is in the second version, third version. So it doesn't become a debt, it becomes a roadmap. It becomes something that you look forward, not something that you promise you want to do it, you plan you want to do it, and you forgot about it totally. And then after 1 or 2 months, oh yeah, we're supposed to build that. So that's how Droppy handling it for now.
All right, thanks, Linda. Dennis had one other question for you. Given the current COVID-19 situation, a lot of startups, a lot of tech companies have kind of transformed the way they work, right? Not just working remotely, but a lot of processes that you follow internally to kind of build your products, ship those products to market, right? What's been working well for you? What has been challenging for you during this COVID-19 scenario?
Yeah. Great question. And I know probably like many others out there, we're all still figuring that out. But a few things that have kind of stood out for us, and to give everybody a little context, we're roughly about 30 full-time employees. And so prior to the COVID, we were actually pretty much a 90% in-office culture, because we were just building so fast. And, instead of typing a chat, it's just turnover and show, right? And I think luckily for us, we had already a really strong foundation of just the relationship amongst the team and the teamwork, that going into this complete work from home environment really helped. So I think a lot of what our success was built on was just the strength of the team camaraderie beforehand. Beyond that, we actually have, not to give anybody, I'm not a shareholder or stockholder in this company, and there's many companies that can offer this, but we use this virtual room software called whereby.com. And we created these virtual rooms where people could, as if they were walking into the office, because obviously they're not, they're just walking into this virtual room, and they're always on in that room. So we've got a virtual room for the developers, right? For the infra guys, for customer success, for sales, for administration. So it's kind of like you're just walking into the office, but your office is now on the screen. So I think that's one thing that's worked. And this is pretty simple too, but these things work is, we have a daily good morning. So we literally just get online for 15 minutes because that's what we were used to, having that little water cooler talk or keeping that connection with people, seeing how they're doing is really important because working from home can often make people feel like they're on an island. And sometimes as you see all the memes and the jokes, you have no idea what day, what time, if it's morning, if it's night, if you're up or down. It's really important that you find ways to stay connected so that you're not leaving your teammates on an island, right? So off the top of my head, those are a couple of things that I think have really helped our team and business. So.
Sure. I think very useful inputs there, Dennis. I know I want to be cognizant of time. We will take a couple of questions from the audience, but before that, I wanted to I know all of you are existing DigitalOcean customers. Any call outs that you have in terms of why you use DO or why do you continue to trust DO with your business? Linda, if you could have you go first, please.
I think why DO? Because it's simple, it's agile, and it's scalable. That's the main reason I choose DigitalOcean.
Thanks, Linda. Dennis?
Outside of those things, because if it wasn't simple, we would have never chosen you guys. So clearly that was really important. But really for us, it was the people that we were working with, right? We didn't feel like a small fish in a big pond. You guys were there, very responsive, really, scenarios like this where you actually have a connection and some kind of relationship because, building a startup isn't easy. And part of building a startup is also building your own ecosystem of vendor partners, right? And so to us, it was the people and the relationship, so.
Thanks, Dennis. Bhatia?
So yeah, for me, the main reason is simplicity and affordability. So I've been used DO since in my own blog in 2013, something like that. It's so affordable. It's only $5, and then we can scale as we go, and that's what I like about DO. And I think most of developers also find that very, very, very engaging because you can have world-class kind of infrastructures with only $5. So yeah, and then we can test a lot of things in DO and doesn't worry about kind of nitty-gritty details about the pricing calculator or something like that. We don't have that in DO. We just pay straight monthly fees and no hidden fee at all. So I think that's the most important thing for us, honestly. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Bhatia. Eugene?
Yeah, I agree with everybody. I think for us, simplicity, number one. The other thing is the ease of which we can snapshot an image from one location, one point of presence, and move it across the world, the globe, to another, and spin up an instance there with exactly what we've done in one country, for example, was also a major plus for us. But otherwise, DO has also provided us with very, very good responsive support, amazing technical support.
Sure. Thanks all of you. In a lot of ways, we have certain, one value propositions, things that we want endeavor to kind of serve our customers. And it's great to hear that resonate with all of you and the fact that you're calling out all of those. Thanks for that. Mohan, do you have a couple of questions from our audience?
We don't have any questions that came in on chat, PJ, but we've now enabled audience to unmute themselves. So if any of you have questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask our panelists questions. In case you are not speaking, please remain on mute.
Audience, this is a great time. We have a great panel of speakers here. Like I mentioned, diverse experiences, diverse product portfolio experiences. So if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them now.
Yeah, there was one question that came in, PJ. This is from Ankit Mahapatra, and he asks, what are the tech trends the panelists are excited about?
Maybe I could throw something out there that we've seen. what's been really exciting is, and it's kind of a good news, bad news, is in the last umpteen days, we almost haven't had any sleep. That's the bad news. The good news to that is because I think what's happening is, there's obviously a very traditional culture of how businesses operate in Southeast Asia. And with the Southeast Asian economies that were doing so well prior to Corona, and clearly there's been a lot of negative impact, but we have to look and find the silver lining. And a lot of these traditional businesses, I think were a little complacent with their adoption of technology. And due to the coronavirus, they have really had to force themselves now. And many of them have privately laughed and said, in a way, I'm really glad about this lockdown because it's forced us to make these technology decisions that we've had to put off for so long. So just as a sign of encouragement for all of the product engineer people out there, just, start building your audience and your community. There is a ton of, market demand these days for almost anything technology wise. So we've been really excited, just the traditional companies going, okay, give me whatever software and technology you've got, right?
Very true. Anybody else have anything else to share?
Yeah, for me, actually, the most exciting thing right now is AI in edge computing. So we're dealing with a lot of data and machine learning in very centralized manner right now. So every data need to be pulled into one single data warehouse, and then we do something about that. But the rise of the new processors, the rise of the new device, we able to really compute that and bring the model on the edge of the computing. That's, I think, is very interesting. And in the futures, maybe we will see a lot of AI in very small device. Right now we see some, but not massive enough. And I think in the next few years will be very massive in that sectors. And the second one is actually the decentralized like blockchain. I think that's also together with machine learning and AI and edge computing will be shape the next couple years of the technology. Yeah.
Thanks, Bhatia. I know we're almost up on time. Maybe if you do like a quick, round of, key tips and tricks that each of you are planning as we kind of come out of coronavirus. I hope that is very soon. How are you kind of looking to scale your businesses and kind of get back to what would potentially be the new normal? Linda, how do you think about it for your business?
For Droppy, well, in a way, we're glad that this, COVID-19 happened. We have time to re-strategize everything, and we, the market that we target is accelerating their awareness on digitalization. So we are hoping that post-COVID, we can do more like partnership with other companies out there, because we know now there's a pain and there's need in our market segment, and we don't want to focus on that. So we're looking for more partners to grow. I think that's the main thing that we are going to focus now as we have stabilized the tech structure. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Linda. Dennis?
Yeah, for us, because I think there's a ton of demand out there, we're really focused on different ways to remove friction in the onboarding and adoption process. So clearly everybody probably on this call is very skilled at building a lot of cool things. But unless you get out to market and get people to be able to onboard really quickly and adopt it, then you're really not yet moving the ball forward. So we're super focused right now on, all initiatives to onboard rapidly with less friction and get people onboarded. And outside of that, we're luckily and blessedly still hiring for great talent. So yeah, check us out, prosperno.com.
Thanks, Dennis. Eugene?
Yeah, so not to make light of the situation, but the COVID-19 issue that we have in the lockdown has forced us to work or find new ways to develop new workflows in us working as a team. And I think we're very fortunate. We, like most of the panelists here, my team communicates very well with one another. I think I'm looking forward to developing new internal workflows for my organization that would see us through the next years and decades.
Thank you, Dean. Bakhtiar?
So yeah, actually COVID-19 have given us a lot of ideas of the product that we want to develop next. Currently we're focusing on the B2B sectors. And since the B2B is kind of slowing down in terms of the process, right? So because usually B2B need a lot of meetings and something like that. So we're planning to have a kind of B2C model for our platform, and hopefully we'll be able to launch sometime this year. So yeah, wish me luck.
Good luck, Bakhtiar, with that. Right, I think that's a wrap on this panel discussion. So again, I want to take this opportunity to thank Linda, Dennis, Bakhtiar, and Eugene for taking the time and sharing your insights. And I'm sure the audience has learned a thing or two from the session. Thanks again. Mohan, over to you.